is there one lesson that you've learned on what it takes to drive this type of change that you think is helpful for others as they navigate these barriers and resistance around creating more equitable opportunities?
So, I was very lucky. Billie Jean King, who shout out, she's really the one who kicked down the door that made Serena and Venus possible. And her pay equity fight is what made it possible for Richard Norcine to say, hey, these little girls, they should play tennis because they were getting paid what the men were getting paid. And that was the brutally honest truth. Hopefully you've seen the movie. And so credit there. So I think in these movements, you absolutely need folks like Billie Jean King to, through advocacy and activism, kick things forward. I really believe if 5 years ago I had said, I am just going to give away all of this money to get more, young girls into sports or do things philanthropically, it would have made a much smaller impact. And so this is what I think is the very best of capitalism. The thing, and you can see my tweets, back in March of 19, when everyone started telling me, oh, no one watches women's sports and you're going to waste all your money in my replies, I saved most of those, by the way, because then every time we hit another milestone of like sold out crowds, sold out arenas or valuation, I would tag them in the update with their tweet and be like, thank you so much for the motivation. But I know that there's this fire that when directed well, the engine of capitalism can be a very effective tool for social change. At the end of the day, the very people who were probably some of the loudest detractors had to take a seat once they saw 22,000 people in a sold-out crowd for Angel City's opener. They had to take a seat when they saw another record-breaking number of viewers, more people watching the women's NCAA tournament than the men's last year. They had to take a seat when they saw new revenue milestones. And the machine, the engine of capitalism, can be a tremendous force for social change, and I think this is one of the great examples of it. And it's why we need more and more folks on cap tables that represent more and more of our society. It's why we need more and more player empowerment as we grow this up. But it gives me some hope to see this thing that I know is not always an engine for social progress be a demonstrable way to prove, yes, these women deserve it. And I could have put it on every billboard. I could have done a variety of things with those dollars to try to convince some people. But the one thing I realized even 5 years ago, the folks who believed in women's sports, they were on board. The folks who weren't, probably through no amount of coercion, would have, come on. But, in the free market, in capitalist society, just like ball don't lie, money don't lie. And if you have that many people paying attention and that many dollars flowing into these teams, you now have to just take your seat and say, okay, yeah, I guess I was wrong. Maybe they won't admit that. But more importantly, you can see unequivocally, undeniably, these women deserve the same as the men. And I think it's going to be a swift decade. I think 10 years from now, when my oldest, Olympia, she'll be about 18, I think most of the major sports, certainly in the United States, will be seeing quite comparable pay. And that's going to be a lot of fun because I know it's saying to wrap up. I'll say this last thing too. If you think the quality of play, choose your favorite, one of the most developed sports, you could probably say soccer, football. On the women's side, basketball is also phenomenal. But choose your favorite athlete from those sports where you have these superstar phenomenal qualities and traits. Know that she is the last generation of little girls, because let's say she's in her early 20s. That means 10 years ago, when she was a teenager, she was making the hard decision about whether or not to play sports or not. And to play sports meant, financial insecurity, meant little to no chance of fame or fortune, or all the things a professional athlete normally has. And she still chose to play sports. And so whether it's Alex Morgan, whether it's Caitlin Clark, whether it's good on the list, they're the last generation of girls who decided, okay, no, I love this so much, I'm going to do it. And now that same little girl who's 11, 12, 13, who's making that decision, do I keep playing? Do I keep getting up at 5 in the morning for this practice? She now has a goal which is, oh wait, I can actually make a tremendous living doing this. I can actually be a global icon doing this, which is something little boys have been able to do for a very long time. And so that means it's not just that little girl who's gonna get up at 5 a.m. There's probably gonna be 1,000 or 10,000 little girls. So she's gonna have a lot more competition, which, again, when the free market works well, means the level, the quality of play is going to get 100 times better. And so if you're captivated by women's sports today, and you should be, just wait and see. Because in another 10 years, the girls who are watching today, those teenagers and going all in on sports are gonna be they'll be entering the draft, they'll be starting to plan professional teams, and you will see the fruits of all of that, and it will be even better of a fan experience. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.